Hello and welcome to the B-Bun episode 30, whammy! I'm your host Baron Marf. I'm joined as always by the legend himself, it's Angry Link. How you doing, buddy?
Well, it's a bit yawny.
Bit yawny.
Yeah, in the sound test.
Tired face.
Yeah, well, I got up early. Somebody got to bed early.
I tried to get up early, it just didn't go well.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So much for plans.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, how's your gaming week been?
Not too strenuous. Obviously I didn't achieve any of what I wanted to from last week.
Nice touch.
So I'm still well far away from what I wanted to be on Destiny. But I can, as long as I've got a few other people that are a bit punching above my weight.
Yeah.
Then the first couple of sections shouldn't really be too much of a problem. It's just the boss.
Alright, so come on then. What light level are we now?
I think I can top out at 351.
Ooh.
Maybe 352.
Good
but
effort.
It's been really annoying because I've been getting the legendaries and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've just all been dropping lower.
Mm.
So this whole 50% seemed to have been 100%. Not going to be better than what I have got already. But that's Destiny. I'm kind of used to the RNG bullshit. So
I was pleased to see your next one that's on the list.
Horizon 3.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously I did. I stayed true to my word. I picked it up Friday. So yeah, just, well, the fun part, obviously I was playing Destiny on Friday and it's just like, alright, I got in, bought it installed, or tried to download, started to download, and then, yeah, I didn't get a chance to play it Friday. But, you know, came through it a bit on Saturday, but just getting started. I've got myself a few cheeky cars, obviously, with some of the packs.
A little cheeky car in
yeah,
there.
well, I like the old classics. So I picked up a nice 1973 Ford Escort.
Okay.
One. I think it's the Mexico. It
The
looks like
Mexico.
Mexico, but in what we both of us know as BDP green.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously chucked a few little mods in there. Got up to I think about 170, 180 brake. So it's a bit friskier, a bit more dangerous on the road. But yeah, it's good fun. But again, like I say, Horizon, there's masses to do. Really liking some of the new bits and bobs they've done with it.
Does it feel right?
Yeah, solid all the way. I was saying to you earlier that I played the demo. I just left all the other accoutrements with the levels and difficulties and settings and simulation racing lines and all that stuff. So I just left it all on. But that one I've obviously gone and changed it what I had on Horizon 2. And yeah, just jumped straight back into it.
Manual clutch. That's rugged,
it's
man.
worth that extra 5%. But I play it inside the car and all of that, so it makes it feel a bit more fun and a bit more challenging and daring. Especially once you start kicking in the skids and you get that drift on. When you throttle in, hitting that, just eking it and feathering that throttle and opposite lock and bam.
If Xbox could deliver that in a VR simulation.
Well, we'll see what Scorpio.
Yeah.
See what happens, because don't forget we've got another Forza will be out next year, so it'll be Forza 7. I would be very surprised if Microsoft are going for the VR route that Forza's not going to get a patch. Obviously, Drive Club, they've announced, I think it's for Season Pass, it's like $20 for the VR.
Mm.
So yeah, you know, it's not unheard of for it to be patched in, but who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? Any other games?
No, just been catching up on some reading.
Okay.
Picked up a couple of novels, some charity shop finds. Another Vince Flynn. But one I did see was Black Man by Richard Morgan.
Okay.
And he is the cat who, I don't know if you wrote the whole of the Crisis 3 story, but he was obviously involved with it. Yeah, it's a sci-fi one. Only just started that one. It's a bit of a... I remember started to reading it before and stopped, because I think I borrowed it from the library and it had to go back. But, yeah, no.
So round 2, basically.
Yeah, let's see if I can finish it this time.
Yeah, fair enough.
How about yourself?
Do you know what? Not a lot of diversity this week. Been trying to get onto Horizon, but didn't really give it, or had the time to give it what I wanted.
I did give you the invitation yesterday. It was like, I'm just going for some food. What was it you was eating? It seemed like a whole 7-course wonder.
Well, we did actually go out for McDonald's. Other burger providers are available, and yeah, we did the Mackie D's run. But it's been Destiny. That's all it's been, really.
Yeah.
It's been trying to optimise your character with whatever you got around you before you get too stuck into raids and all the other jazz.
Are you still just rocking one character or trying to boost all three at the same time?
No, I'm doing all three, man.
Ooh, yeah, so that's the challenge to get that. But suppose once you start getting a bit of half decent gear, it's not difficult to chip over to
you get
other
the benefit
characters.
of the strange coins, that's the thing.
Yes.
The strange
indeed.
Everyone's after the strange. And also, in between, just randomly, 3DS, it's still Planet Robobot, Kirby. Love it.
Nice.
Just loving that game. I love the variety in those games. Like every level, you've got a different suit or something ability that you can use. Great.
Oh, good stuff.
So yeah, loving it. Right, cool. Okay, so let's move on over to the Bullet Bills Big 3.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Boom, 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 baby. It's Bullet Bills Big 3. The news. And for our first bullet hole, Link, what we got?
Sticking with Destiny, Destiny 2.
Ooh.
There has been a report. Sources from Kotaku have claimed that it's going to leave behind the previous games. So they're going to...
In what sense?
All of your stuff, like all of the planets and story and all... Well, not the story and the lore, but...
There
everything,
isn't any. Sorry, I know there's...
It's hard to find.
But yeah.
But yeah, they're going to leave all of that behind. So it's going to essentially be a whole new... A blank slate, basically.
Okay.
But long-time players will be rewarded.
Will they?
How?
Will they?
Is it going to be some crappy class item that you're going to not use after you've instantly got something better?
Here's the Gala shader.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But there was a NeoGAF user, a leak artist, Shinobi602, has offered some additional info. Obviously, they're going to be expanding things like the play areas or play spaces. They'll be bigger. Like one of the places that Saturn, like the Cabal and all of that, were talked about. But Saturn, it was bigger than all of the other places combined. And they're going to be a bit more populated. So there's going to be towns and outposts and different.
Finally.
So I'm thinking
something different than just kill zones, basically.
Yeah. I sort of likened it would probably be a bit more like Borderlands.
Right.
In the sense you'll have different areas, and like you say, you've got little towns here and there, haven't you? So
that's pretty cool. I mean, does that do it for you? Is that like a bonus, or is that a negative? Or?
Well, it makes it a bit more of sort of RPG like, because they have tried to say it's not quite an MMO, it's not quite an RPG, it's not quite just a shooter. It's an amalgamation of the three. So I think they're trying to obviously emphasise each of those elements. But they don't know what
the fuck their game is?
Well, I think they've now, after sort of... Now it's been out in the wild, and obviously we're into year 3.
Of something.
Yeah, well, they've kind of nailed it down. I think the raids, we were talking about these earlier, weren't they? They've nailed the raids down. That everyone's been really nicely different and varied, and I think they're sort of trying to push this more into the quest side of it.
Yeah. So
it's more fulfilling and enjoyable over and over again. Mm-hmm. So obviously they're going to sort of try and push for more RPG-like, so it makes it more interesting than the quests. Which is the
people
line.
Want that character development piece, don't they? That's what Destiny boils down to.
I think,
which worries me when they say they're leaving it, potentially could be leaving it behind.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's like some second collapse, or there's some emerging new force or something or other. They'll probably not explain it in the wonderful way that Destiny doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And there'll be a whole new deck of Grimoire cards to try and find that you still can't access in-game and read.
Ugh.
Please get the app so we know every move that you make.
Yeah.
But no, so obviously in addition to the 750 plus Bungie employees that are probably working on it at this moment.
Yeah.
Apparently High Moon Studios, obviously the people that did the Transformers games for Activision,
Yeah.
and Vicarious Visions have been drafted in, so you're probably talking another good 150, 200 plus extra people there, so you've
That's
got
huge.
a good 1,000 people working on it. Another bit I did read was that they're obviously the world building tools, they've kind of overhauled that, so building new stuff beyond that will be a lot easier and quicker.
Good.
That was one of the big problems that they've had, and implementing new shit takes an awful long time for
Well, and let's be honest, they got to a point where you were looking at it and you were going, this is the environment, reskinned or whatever, this is still the environment I'm going to be in for the next 10 years according to what they pitched initially.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm kind of all in favour of it all being new and fresh and changing, just as long as they bring stuff back. I mean, I will feel utterly lied to if the whole my vault's gone and everything that I've collected up until this point is gone, because I feel that I've had to work for it. What meagre offerings I have got, I've had to work for. So
hours have been applied.
Yeah, exactly. So that in itself is a problem, but hopefully it doesn't work out in too bad.
Yep.
But it was the Taken King creative staff or leads. So the director of that, Luke Smith, and the executive producer, Mark Noseworthy, they're overseeing it. So, I mean, the Taken King was really good. I'm quite glad that they're in charge. But it's looking that it's probably going to be coming to, well, obviously Xbox One and PC, PS4, but there's talk of it being PC as well.
Interesting.
So, there was a lot of complaints from that, obviously, with this.
Yeah.
But
I think what they're getting to a point, because they've kicked off the last generation now, haven't they?
Yeah,
so we're not supporting
gone.
360, we're not supporting PS3, and hopefully that allows them to get to a more steady state for things such as PC integration easier.
We've seen with this one's raid that once you've got rid of the Xbox 360 and the PS3, what you can do, and it's a bit more elaborate, and obviously with the exotic quests, and I mean Rise of Iron is very short, but there was like 3 or 4 people that worked on it. It was a ridiculously small number,
and it feels like it.
Yeah, it totally does. But get Destiny 2 right, and
Yeah,
then see if we can get a good 10 years out of that.
and I look forward to paying for that as well.
Exactly. So, but that's the way it is, I guess, with Destiny. It's what we're committed to. It's why I love. I hate to love it.
Yeah, Destiny. Cool. Okay, well, over to our second bullet hole for this week. It's Microsoft's amazing announcement of some bundles. So, upcoming Gears of War 4, 11th of October, very exciting stuff. And there's a little announcement of some coloured coloured bundled Gears of War 4 collections, Xbox S. Very exciting stuff. I'm thinking, do you know what? I like the idea of these sort of branded Xboxes. If I'm into Gears that much, and we all know that Jedi is somebody who is, you may be tempted with it. It's not a branded controller, it's not a branded console, it's just the game in it. And the colour variety is quite interesting. You get white or blue.
I've thought about this since we noticed this earlier. I'm thinking they still had loads of, like, however they have to colour their plastic, they had loads of that left over. So there was like, we've got loads from the Forza bundles. What other games we've got coming out? Gears of War 4? Yeah, well, that actual, the proper bundle, the one with the actual branded controller, sold out really quick because they only made like 15 of them.
And yeah, exactly. And the core colour for that game is obviously, with all the blood and stuff, it's red, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they figured then obviously to use up the rest of that resource, the best colour to use for Gears would be
teal. I think is its more
to be fair
name.
It's a good looking console.
It's a nice colour.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be ashamed to have that under my TV.
No. So yeah, very cool looking.
But not one you'd associate with Gears.
No. So they're doing the white with a terabyte hard drive, but the blue with 500 gig.
Nice, good touch.
Yeah, so that's obviously to offset some of the cost of the plastic colours, so that rather than just give you that and the standard size memory now.
I mean, it's not even got like a graphic you could just do a black Gears of War logo.
Do you want to take a guess on how much the bundle is?
Go on then, hit me.
Well, just a ballpark guess.
Well,
completely out by 100 or 200.
I saw you could get FIFA 17
mm-hmm.
and another controller, and another game for $279.99. I believe the bundle was.
So I've done some very rough calculations, and I haven't. So what I did was I took the Australian dollar, which is the only place where you can buy these bundles, only available in Australia, at $350 for the white one with a 1 terabyte, or $300.
Yeah, because I'd imagine it's got quite weak against the dollar recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, so they've just figured the best place to release this is only in Australia, rather than just standardise it across the world, where people say, "Oh, I can get a blue Xbox."
Yeah.
So to get a flight over there would probably cost you £1,500. Console itself maybe $200. So you're looking at about £1,700 for the console. I mean, yeah, you could get it shipped to you, but do you trust other people with your stuff? So £1,700.
Nice.
I think it's quite a reasonable price myself.
For a blue console?
Yeah.
I think I'll pass.
Don't people want a branded console when they buy a bundle? I mean, I guess I get this thing of get your game with the console. I get that, but I personally would want some branded stuff if I was going for a Gears deal.
There's nothing about it says Gears of War at all. So there's the first problem. Well, I think my one note from that story was Xbox One Gears of War bundle.
Yeah.
I think they're just trolling the Australian market. It's just like they'll pay for any old shit.
Ooh, a white one. It's a bundle. Yeah. Okay. All right. So moving on to our third bullet hole for this week. What we got, Link?
Battleborn will go free to play. Well, maybe not, but probably.
Should it?
Could it? Might. I don't know. Well, there was a story earlier in the week. I think it dropped like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
A reckless story to quote Randy.
Randy Bidford, yeah, that's right.
But a reckless story about Battleborn going free to play. Obviously, they haven't really had the sales that they're looking for. Obviously, they didn't really foresee Overwatch just going, spank you, take your sales. They're like the proverbial bully that's taking his lunch money.
Mm-hmm.
So Randy obviously got in a bit of a tiz-was and went on a bit of a Twitter rant. I mean, I pictured him sort of like in a kitchen trying to fry some milk or whatever and holding a baby and trying to push a hoover around, and he's got his phone in the other hand.
Painting his lawn and like shaving the walls.
Just going off on this random sort of Twitter, no, it's not, blah, blah, blah. But it was really quite vague. There was no real definitive...
Well, he said it's... The rumour of it going free to play is false, so he did kind of put that line in the sand. And then he went on to kind of fumble his way to say, but we were looking at this demo thing, and people were like, so a timed demo then? And he was like, no, I don't think it should go that way. And it was all just... I likened it to somebody who answered the door in his dressing gown and just wasn't ready to be pressed on a load of questions sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I think what says more about it is the fact that people have gone, so this game's going free to play, right? And he's like going, no, it's not. It's still a 40 quid game. Yeah, but it's going free to play though, isn't it? No, it's not. And it comes across a little bit like somebody's desperately trying to still say, this game's got value. I stand by my IP. Yeah.
I don't know. I've pretty much had a bit of a think about it, and there's really only one solution for me for Battleborn.
Yeah.
It's split it up. Obviously, you've got the multiplayer sides, just the PvP. That takes on more of a free-to-play mechanic, in the sense that you'll, like with Killer Instinct, you've got a base series of characters and a base series of levels.
Buy more, yeah.
And you can add to that and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the single player as well. If you want to like the co-op, throw in a few missions free.
Mm-hmm.
Like have one small little campaign, like a tutorial campaign, and here's more campaigns, because it allows them, then they've got their base model that they don't have to keep worried about developing, but they can develop more stuff and add and charge extra stuff along the way.
But do you know what? They fuckers already had my money, so they need to make that a game. Keep it a game.
Yeah.
None of this free to play.
Again, I think it's maybe a sequel, but if it's not sold, it's not going to get a sequel.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those that it's the kind of game it's trying to be. All of those other games are free to play. In a lot of sense.
I can't work out how they managed to hit the same release window as Overwatch, a Blizzard game. It just seemed fucking ludicrous that someone would do that.
Been in beta for a long time and had been worked on and had been applauded and raved about.
Huge cult following of people who are just buying the game because it's got the Blizzard name tag on it because they know the quality.
Exactly.
So anyway, we digress. Look, let's shuffle on over to our beef.
Yeah, I think we need to get that over and done with, get it out of the system.
Yeah, because this is a special one. Oh dear. Splish. It's the beef, baby. What's the beef, Chief? What's going on?
Well, we were going to talk about this for a news item first of all. But then as it emerged, it seems that it got up a bit of a goat and
got heated,
got the
it?
ire of both of us.
Yeah.
But Mafia 3, obviously it's coming out soon.
Pending.
Reviews should be coming through soon.
Well, it should be out, really.
Well, no, review copies aren't going out. 2K informed, I think it was Polygon, that they wouldn't be getting them before they released.
Wait. Do you know what I smell? I smell a rat. A dirty rat.
Yeah.
There's something going on here. Right, we've done this before. Mad Max, back September of last year, right? You and I were talking about this, and I said they held back the reviews, they embargoed it to shit, right?
Yeah.
Which is not dissimilar to what not releasing the copy of the game for someone to play is like. And I said, okay, this game's going to be a piece of shit, and if I'm wrong, I'll eat my hat. I was wrong. I'm yet to eat the hat, but I was definitely wrong.
But you're going to go for a double serving now.
This time I'm going for a 10-gallon cowboy hat. On the table says, make or break, go big or go home, that this game is going to be pap. And I'm going to put a figure on that. I'm going to say it's not going to get the majority score, and I'm not saying Metacritic, but generally the majority score across the board will be below 8.
I'd say that's unfair.
Why is that?
I think you're building it up and hyping it up and expecting it to be a better game. I would say 7's a fair number.
Oh yeah, you'd like me to eat that hat, wouldn't you?
Well, you still don't eat the other one, so
7.5. It's a deal.
Right, okay, we'll go. It's got to be a 7.5, or like you say, Metacritic. If it's got a high Metacritic score of 75,
whatever the equivalent, 3/4, yeah. Okay.
so,
But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. They're holding this back for a reason. Why would you hold it back?
I mean,
it's gone gold, yeah.
I've got some points because I thought, is it to keep secrets and sort of story and keep that all held back? But then they've shown off about 1 million hours of it through 1,000 trailers that they've shown off of this game.
Right.
So it can't be that.
So it's not, if it's not keeping the content secret, then it's because there's something wrong?
I don't know, I was going to say, is it a worrying sign? But then some other games have recently done it. Well, obviously not necessarily recently, but Destiny, they didn't obviously allow review copies, but thinking about that, I know that was now because then people would the story's really short and it's a massive grind after you've done those 18 levels. So unless you're prepared for the grind, don't buy it. Then a lot of people wouldn't have bought it and felt invested and spent £105 at this point. Not that I'm bitter. So yeah, Doom as well was another one.
Yeah.
That didn't have
Duke Nukem.
Well, Duke Nukem, the fact that it even come out.
Shameful.
Yeah.
That was more like, I told you we could do it. What's the game like? I don't know. I've not looked at it, but we've got it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat worrying for me because I was really looking forward to it. I enjoyed Mafia 2. I even remember playing Mafia 1 on the original Xbox. And I liked the realism side of it, whereas you had your GTA where you could go and just rip past a copper at 100 miles an hour and you wouldn't give a shit. Or run red lights and no one cares. This, if a copper sees you doing it, he'll gun you down. Well, not gun you down, but chase you down and try and give you a ticket and all of this stuff. And I really enjoyed that side of it.
Don't you also have to fuel the cars as well?
Yes, in 2 you do, yeah. But I love the story of it as well, how it transpired over sort of 20 years. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one works. I mean, I've been really intrigued by some of the systems they've got in play with, like you've got different bosses and you can recruit them.
But do you know, by the sounds of it, you're not the only person who's really interested in seeing what this game is like as well, because most professional reviewers out there are in exactly the same boat.
Because it's previewed pretty well. Because the thing is, people forget, I mean, even though it's obviously with the power of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox and PC, I mean, open world games are difficult to make and make really well. I mean, it is a tough challenge.
But, I'm not 100% sure on the release date of Mafia 3.
It's October the 7th.
So they're so close now, it's not like they could do a reprint if there was something wrong with the code.
Or 11th, I think it might be, but it's in a back week and a half.
So the only thing which would do it is either A, they're trying to control the release so that it gets out of the shop and people buy it before they see the reviews, or B, they've got issues with production. But
I can't see it being production.
No, you'd have,
because you've got copies, digital and all of that.
Yeah.
Then they would turn around and say, unfortunately, the physical copies are
unavailable. Is your code, download it.
Yeah. Some would probably say, yeah, you can have a code and then forfeit the physical for a code, kind of shit. But yeah, the only thing that I would look to, it's streamers, because I think it's very much a story-driven game, and a lot of people would be buying it for said story.
Right. Okay.
So if you can watch someone play the whole thing, and YouTubers and Let's Plays, then why would you buy it?
Yeah, because obviously the gameplay is so pap that it's not worth playing.
It might be the case of that, but
because the driving mechanics in it, for me, kind of put me off a little bit.
They weren't
because I was used
brilliant,
to GTA,
but they weren't terrible though. There's a lot more weight and I felt substance in the world. It's just a lot. It just wasn't as busy as GTA in terms of content. That's the only thing I'd say. It went against it. It wasn't. It felt a lot more populated, but at the same time a lot lonelier, because you'd have here's the one or two things, whereas GTA you're like, right, I'm gonna go do this, and no, I'm gonna go and bend in stupid positions and do some yoga. And
so what does this holding back of releasing titles for reviews to mean to you in this? Were you looking at buying this? Has this changed your approach at all?
I'm going to obviously be honest, and I was never going to buy it day one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the pre-order and all of that, thinking, do I not? It's definitely something that I would maybe pick up on the same way that I did with Sleeping Dogs. When I see it cheap, yeah, I'll grab it then.
Yeah.
Because it's something that will live in my disc drive for a few weeks. I'll play it to death, and then I'll take it out and put something else in, and it will never go back in, more than likely.
And if it does, it'll be for 10 minutes, yeah?
Yeah, that's the point. I've still got to go back to Sleeping Dogs and do all the zombie stuff. I've not done that yet. That's some GG's awaiting.
Cool.
But no, so it's a difficult one for me. I'm a bit pissed off that there isn't reviews. Just so I can see because obviously there's a few people I look at and sites that I go to see what they say.
But this doesn't really affect you a great deal because you're not a day one buyer, so you could sit back and wait and you still see the reviews.
Yeah, I mean, even with like stuff like No Man's Sky, I still haven't got it, but obviously I'm still going to go and buy it and still going to play it, because even with all the negativity surrounding it.
Generally, do you know where I'm at? I think this stuff stinks. It stinks to high heaven, and when shit like this goes down and they don't explain it, it's like, right, that's it.
The thing for me.
That's it.
That's my line in the sand. If we were talking about this earlier, when 2K, well, not 2K, Take-Two had problems with GTA and heists.
Yeah.
All they had to do was they've come out previous or since they've released them and said, oh, well, we couldn't get them right and all of that and blah blah blah. If they'd have just said that and come out from 6 months later, 7 months later, we're really, really struggling to get these right and working properly. Really, really sorry, but we don't want to release a turd out into the market.
Yeah.
Fine, okay, no
You'd be
worries.
cool. You'd be
just
absolutely
be honest
cool with
and open and a bit more transparent. We're not stupid. Well, a lot of us aren't stupid. So give us a bit of credit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's for me. I just think it worries me whenever anybody does this. They're either A, trying to hide something, or B, something's gone horribly wrong,
Or it's something that screams of a PR stroke marketing executive grubby mitts, and there's going to be some elaborate fucking stupid Resident Evil style backfire stunt.
Yeah. But the thing is,
there's going to be a march on the fucking, like some KKK march, and they're going to be trying to sell the game or some bullshit. I don't know. Hopefully those days are gone.
Surely the idea of releasing a game is you do something that you think the general public will be interested in buying, and you stand by it and say, come and have a look at it, and this is why, and get a hold of it and touch it and feel it, and that way you can tell other people how much you love it. And that doesn't seem to be what they're trying to do here.
The problem is the people that they can blacklist people that they won't send out certain review copies to. Kotaku have been blacklisted by Ubisoft many times because of what they've written about them and leaks that they've made. So they struggle to get stuff like that. But at the same time, yes, you're worried about this potential flame bait, fucking the old typical internet rubbish. But it's not going to stop it. It's just going to put it off for just that little few days more. Because most of the people that would take the review into consideration will wait. They're like, it's alright, it's just some crappy little pre-order thing that they'll eventually make available to buy.
Yeah.
They always do. Or they'll release it as part of some Game of the Year edition, and then all those little bits and accoutrements will go in there. Yeah, so it's the people that they're trying to stop reflex buying won't stop reflex buying. Like, the people that want it, they'll go out and get it. They've pre-ordered it, they don't care.
Yeah, people who've been following the franchise are going to buy it. Who enjoyed it are going to buy it.
They've made their mind up, it's done. The middle ground that they're looking for, they're the ones that it's not going to stop them not buying it.
Well, it's definitely, this decision has definitely made me immediately say, I am not buying that on day one.
No.
Absolutely not.
You are now definitely waiting for a review.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if you'd have seen a review, or there was reviews out, would you have looked at them?
Yeah.
Do you look at, like, some websites, they do a review roundup, and you get like
the summary at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tend to just dip into summaries, or I want an overview of what people think. And usually what I find most useful about reviews, and I mostly watch video reviews, and that's not because I don't believe in reading the articles. You should always read the articles. There's a lot of nuances that you can pick up more from reading the article. But what I like about the videos is you actually get to see what they're talking about, and you can take a view on it yourself as to whether you really think that impacts you or not. Because a lot of the time a reviewer will sit there and say to you, I hate this or I love that. But you should also be honest with yourself whether that bothers you at all, because I've seen many reviews say this is rubbish because you can't do this, that and another, and I think, well, actually I don't care about that. No. So this game is suddenly scoring a bit higher for me.
It doesn't impact how
I want to play it. Yeah,
I think that is the thing though, isn't it? I mean, you was talking about with I like the summaries at the end, like the pros and cons. That's all I really, really need to see, because I know the things that bug me in games and the things that don't. So that, like you say, that's a con for them. Do you know, I don't mind that. I've played, so it's when gameplay can get repetitive. It's right, I played Fist of the North Star by Dynasty Warriors team. So repetitive gameplay, I'm fine with it, as long as it's got something that keeps my interest.
Which is exactly what I'm like with games such as Prototype and Spider-Man and all that. I love that shit, flying around, beating the crap out of stuff, over the top super moves. Repetitive, basic fetch quests, left, right and centre. I don't give a shit.
Because you can slam giant tentacly things through people whilst you're jumping from a skyscraper.
Yeah, or swinging around on my webs and Spidey. Great. Cool, okay, well look, beefy this week.
I think we got a bit off the chest.
I mean, it stinks. I'll say it again. It fucking stinks.
But it's not a practice that's ever going to go away.
Well, all I'm going to say to everybody out there is please, please, please hold fire. Don't get this game.
If you're undecided,
don't do it. Cool. Okay, let's move on over to our Uncharted territory, I think.
Yeah, somewhat calmer, more sedate.
Yeah.
Hopefully a bit more enjoyable.
Let's move on over. Uncharted territory, folks. The place for rambling thoughts and and dreamlike manoeuvres.
And wayward expeditions.
Yeah, and we thought we'd go for a bit of a retrospect this week.
Yeah.
Some classic old gaming.
Yeah, I think sometimes it can be difficult to just find an interesting story or topic in the news or sort of feature that perks up your interest. But
it's easy to just have a little trip down memory lane on a classic, isn't it?
Nice little nostalgia trip.
And do you know what I quite like about this week? So we've got a couple of games. I've got one, you've got one, and I think both of us were surprised by the other person's choice. I mean, me more from I remember that, and I didn't realise how it felt to me at the time and what I relate it to now.
Yeah.
And then for you, it was a bit
just a complete
random.
Yeah, just a curveball, really.
Yeah.
Because it was a game that I'd played, and obviously in the subsequent games I really enjoyed.
Yeah, so the game in hand for me was WCW versus NWO World Tour. Now, I'm not a massive wrestling fan. I don't watch it. I don't really follow it. I probably watched a few WrestleManias when I was younger.
As we all.
Yeah, but I've never sort of really been into wrestling games. I don't get on the modern ones now, but this was sort of back in sort of the fabled February 1998. This was released on the Nintendo 64 back in the day. So little known developer known as Mick Ace Entertainment, which is part of a key corporation. I don't really know them.
I think it's Japanese.
Yeah. So obviously they're developers of WCW versus NWO World Tour. And published by THQ. Yay, THQ. I like THQ for these sort of games. They seem to come out with... So how I explain this game is one of those games which isn't great. It's not one of those games that you
rough around the edges.
Yeah, it's really rough around the edges, and it doesn't necessarily follow the format of what you'd expect that game to be.
It forgoes a few of the things that, like what wrestling was at the time, in for more of a enjoyable gameplay mechanics, because it was obviously you had punching and grappling, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So you would then
light or heavy.
Yeah, yeah. So you obviously
hold it down, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So it's a really, really basic, simple setup, but it worked so amazingly well because it was the reversals and the counter system. That's where it really shone.
Yeah, exactly. And that counter system did work.
It was unbelievable. Me and my brother used to have unreal. Obviously, it wasn't on the WCW one because obviously by that point THQ had the WWF license. I think they then drafted in that same developer to do the WWF No Mercy.
Right. Okay.
But they really went to town. You had all of the startup musics, so all of the entrances. You could create characters. You had this massive move set. I mean, you were saying, whereas that one was rough around the edges, this was the real refinement. They'd added new move sets, different because you could do like the running turnbuckle moves. Well, obviously you couldn't I don't think in the early ones, but there was like you could do flips off the unbelievable, and the rope moves. And
yeah, so on this one it has all the interactions with the ropes. It's got all the piling people up on the corners and stuff like that. It had double teaming and all this sort of stuff.
The double specials, and
they did another iteration of it later, Revenge, where they just sort of like tighten the screws, put some more characters in, richened up the colour base, put more moves in and stuff like that.
Better presentation.
But the basic principle of this sort of like tap the button once to do a quick grab, and then you can press like up and an attack or down an attack, which is very similar to what I akin to the Streets of Rage sort of stuff.
Yeah, you had basically it was it would then open up to you had 8 possible moves.
Exactly, yeah.
But then you'd have, if you was to hold down the button, you'd do the heavy grapple. So then you'd have another range of moves. But then you could go around the back. You could switch around the back of them with another button press. And then you've got another series of 4 moves or 8 moves. It was a massively complex mastery required.
And the controls were okay. I mean, I think it was on a Nintendo 64 controller, but you could get your head, once you got your head around it, things like a janky place to put a run button or something like that. But other than that, it was pretty solid. And me and my mates got to a stage where we were just living on this game, and it wasn't so much about the gameplay was particularly overly compelling. A wrestling match is a wrestling match. there wasn't like an option where, say, two guys could solidly go through a tournament and you felt like you were really doing something special. It was always just, you're just doing matches, you know.
Yeah.
But that's okay, that's fine, that's what wrestling's about. But where we really got to a sweet point on this game was we had all the timings like down pat. So you could go in as like someone like you know, a big massive huge character like the Undertaker or something like that, and just lay people out. I mean, you knew exactly when to hold down the button to do the hard kick as they run it. You could just beat the living crap out of players.
It was very much the opposite of a button masher, because there was did you ever see SmackDown on the PlayStation?
Yeah,
and that
it
was
all right at the beginning, but it was just
fighting
worse.
Game.
Yeah,
it was just really just fast and frantic, and there was no skill behind it. It was just, you'd sort of always find yourself in a panic about what you're supposed to press, and it was just a really unrefined, sloppy game. But because obviously it was on a CD, you had all the proper videos, and it looked a lot nicer, but
there was supposed to be some sort of spiritual successor of it on the PlayStation, but I never managed to hunt down what it was. I might look into that later. But yeah, I mean, for me, if I could get a game like that now, I'd play it, because they did something close with Superstars, if you remember, on the 360, where they went for these overly sort of like over the top
one,
looking.
wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was close, but they just missed a few steps on it. But they haven't done anything quite like that.
I would still try and hunt down a copy of WWF No Mercy, because that was the real, like the same way that GTA 3 is really great.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got GTA Vice City, which is really, really great.
Yeah.
And then you've got Grand Theft Auto 5, and you're like, this is fucking unbelievable. Or San Andreas, for example. And it's the culmination of all of those years of work of coming to create this unbelievable, it just blows the other two out of the water. That's No Mercy.
But do you know what the thing is when somebody gets to that point where they've made that optimum game, where they've just piled everything in and it's bursting at the seams of all of their content, right?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest cartridges that they did.
Once they get to that point, if you were someone like Tekken, you then release yearly iterations of exactly the same content, because you put all of it in Tekken Tag Tournament or something like that. And yeah, oh dear. Okay, so yeah, there it was, out of nowhere, a bit of WCW
Brilliant
versus
game.
NWO.
I'm definitely going to have to look into acquiring a 64 with a copy of No Mercy. Because that is such a solid game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Might even turn up on a virtual console somewhere. Well, I don't know, THQ.
Iffy. So come on then, what did you have for your one?
Sensible World of Soccer.
Yeah, man. Now this, do you know what, just to chip in very quickly, for me, for somebody who doesn't like football, doesn't watch football, or doesn't get football, I've always I've known about Sensible Soccer, and I knew of a game which encompassed the management of it, which today I learned specifically was Sensible World of Soccer 96-97.
Yeah, well, it was sort of basically you had
that was one of the iterations
of it from that. Yeah,
and I said when I mentioned it, when you mentioned it to me earlier on, I said to you, do you know what? For some reason, I really relate that sort of game to a cannon fodder-esque sort of feel. And what did you say?
It's the same company.
It's the same company, dude. It's the same
Sensible
company.
Software.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, Sensible Soccer, or Sensible World of Soccer, this is probably the first game where I've become a complete anorak about it.
Right.
To the point that you could change everything. I mean, I changed all the kits, so they were, obviously this is when the Premier League had just started, so this would have been 93-94 sort of era.
Yeah.
So all the player kits and player names. I mean, there was this massively comprehensive manager mode for the time. To be included with an actual football game was unbelievable. I mean, it was the simplicity of the controls, because there was one button. That was it. It was everything was contextual.
Yeah.
So you would combine that with what was the greatest input device of any computer or console, and that is the zip stick. You could just be. It was unbelievable. I mean, the battles that me and my brothers and friends had over that, it was unreal.
But do you know what? When I look at Sensible Soccer, I kind of think of it like I can get what you mean about the simplistic functional controls. It looks just really like tight gameplay.
I mean, I think the best way for me to describe it and how well they mastered the sort of simple one button sort of everything's in context, like Zelda of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
You know how that A button just does everything, and it's everything you need. It's exactly like that. It's how you approach everything, and it was just an unreal game. I mean, the depth of gameplay from such simple controls is still to this day mind-boggling. I mean, I've before we recorded spent 15-20 minutes trying to hunt down a zip stick, a modern day zip stick that was USB powered, and I can't find one. I'm really disappointed because I can find a copy of Sensible Soccer on abandonware something or other.
But of course, I mean, you would obviously be paying.
I would be trying to. Well, hopefully it's backwards compatible on the Xbox 360.
Yes, that's what we're all looking forward to.
But no, it was a brilliant game. I mean, I was alluding to earlier the battles that I had with my betters and peers as I've written it. Obviously, my older brothers and stuff, obviously, been a few more years on me. They had a bit better grasp of it. But no, it's an unbelievable game. I mean, it was just Sensible Software. Obviously, they created some classics. Obviously, there was all of the Sensible World of Soccer. You had Cannon Fodder was another one.
Yeah, that
which was an unbelievable game at the time. Obviously, Cannon Fodder 2.
But you know, when I think of football games, I know of football manager games, right? And I can't think, for me personally, because obviously I'm not interested in the sport itself, anything more boring than
just a statistically driven game.
Yeah, a statistic sheet on something I don't understand or give a shit about.
Yeah.
So the fact that you actually play the matches as well, or choose to play some of the matches, all of the matches?
No, it's all the matches, yeah. You play a manager. So you're getting in transfers and signing players, and I mean, don't get me wrong,
a really comprehensive offering.
It wasn't a championship manager.
Right.
I mean, do you know,
no. No.
Basically, this is the most championship manager. Some clubs still use that because of their scouting system and their player ratings and how they see everything statistically. Some clubs actually use that as a scouting tool, a PC game as a scouting tool for a professional football club.
Okay.
But it's that damn good. They like not Sports Direct, but Sports Interactive. They've made got some of the best scouting, and it's ridiculous the level of detail. So it was never on that kind of scale. But bearing in mind this is back in the early 90s, so it was never going to be on that scale. But no football game has managed anything really since. I suppose it's just starting to now, like with Pro Evo and stuff with its Master League. And I know that FIFA have been, not that I've played them, but they've been sort of chipping away and getting a bit more of a comprehensive kind of feel. And they've got their new one with their story-driven random guy that they wheeled up on the stage at E3, obviously, in the summer.
Oh, yeah. So quick question then. If they did a revamped HD version of it in some, great colours, but they kept the core gameplay exactly the same, would you be in?
Well, you say that. Obviously, one of the co-founders of Sensible Software, John Hare, is actually making sociable soccer.
Oh, really? Oh, yes, we've mentioned this before.
I was going to say this is last year or earlier in the year sometime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there is a spiritual successor. It's obviously not going to be Sensible Soccer, so obviously the legalities of who owns what and who's got the licence and rah.
Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, just lawyers.
Blah, 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 blah.
Different name, it'll be fine.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
So, yeah, they'll be tempted. Hopefully it does. I think as long as they go for that lo-fi sort of look, but not too much.
Is this going Kickstarter or anything?
I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but obviously it was a bit of a left field question. Got caught out there, but I know obviously I don't know if it had been cancelled. I think he did a Kickstarter and it got taken, or he took it down. But then it just be a case of looking for private investors. The only thing is, a lot of people use Kickstarter as basically as an indicator of how popular it could be, so they can then get some more private investment.
Yeah.
Like Yu Suzuki did with Shenmue. Everyone's like, how can you make Shenmue 3 on 6 million? He's like, dude, he's not making Shenmue 3 on 6 million.
He's making it on 6.2.
No, he's probably making it on 60, and Sony's pumped up. And they've just said, do what you want with that.
See if we can get some interest with you on stage.
Yeah, just use that for the backer packages.
Pimp on stage, yeah.
Cool. There is one little last interesting point now. John Hare obviously claimed that out of 10 of every 11 copies on the Amiga or PC of Sensible World of Soccer were pirated.
So when out of 11 million copies, he only sold 1 million of them?
Yeah.
If they did those numbers.
No, yeah, it would have done those numbers.
Because it was free.
But no, the sales, because don't forget it came out on everything. On the Amiga, obviously PC, SNES, Mega Drive.
Yeah.
It probably found its way onto quite a few other bits and bobs as well. Obviously it came out on the 360. Really interested to see if it's backwards compatible, because if it is, I'm probably going to be going and spending whatever £7 it is there.
Let's start. If it isn't, let's start voicing those opinions. Get it pushed.
Well, I just find it online.
Good.
There'll be somewhere that will probably have it. You can play it online. It's that small a game.
Solid effort. Cool. Okay, so there we are, folks. Another fun-filled week of gaming, and it's going to be another gaming week next week. It's all about Forza Co-op for me.
Yeah, got to get on that shit.
So from Angry Link, it's
WWF No Mercy,
and for me, I'm going to go back to Cannon Fodder. I think. Give me a warm feeling. Right, we're out. Peace.